Introduce myself. Uh, so I'm Kishore. I hope most of you might know me. I'm based out of Houston, Texas. I am an IT professional in IT since last 20 years, and I also manage a group called Indian Desi Friends, which is in 25 plus cities. We have around 25,000 members, right? Like all these are in WhatsApp groups. So again, we use these groups to share information about events, share about what is happening in the community, all that. And every day I see like minimum 2 to 3 GoFundMe links, right? Sometimes they are highly high net worth individuals, but still I see those GoFundMe links floating around. So there are different reasons. Sometimes their accounts, everything got frozen because they don't have will, right? And sometimes there are really people who need the funds, right? So uh, that's one thing which connected me, that it's mainly because of two things, right? One is 80% of the community are not aware about importance of will and trust, right? We think everything here is just like same as in India, because most of us came from India. We think like laws work in the same way just like as in India, right? Just like Hindu act, if something happens to the head of the family, then their kids will inherit all the properties without any issues. But the laws are different here, right? It won't work in the same way. They are totally different. So there are many of us who are here more than 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, but most of us are not aware about the importance of will and trust. That is 80% of our community because of lack of information, lack of knowledge. Then there is another 20% who know about the importance, but just they delay it. They think like it is not that important, we can do next month. They just procrastinate, they delay it. And uh, so we want to use this, like last year also I requested Mark. He did a great session where we got like 20 plus people who immediately signed up. So I thought again it's a good time, right? Because this is one of the most important concepts which each of us should know, which each of us should share with others. Because uh, the cost is minimal, but the if we don't have, the risk is very huge. So that's why again I requested Mark, who is a subject matter expert, who got a lot of experience in this will and trust. He's a vice president for one of the top companies in USA for will and trust, which is NetLaw. So I request Mark to share the information, right? So first 30 to 40 minutes, Mark will explain why, what is this NetLaw company, and how it is, what is will and trust, how it will, why it is important, all those things. And then next 30 minutes, we'll leave it for question and answers. Right? I hope it's clear for everyone. So as of now, all the participants are in mute mode. After 30 minutes, I'll unmute, or you can even, if you get any questions in between, you can type them in the chat window, and Mark will take those questions after he explains about all these concepts. Right? Thanks, Mark. Thanks again, and welcome once again. You can take over from here.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you, Kishore, for that introduction. A great introduction on estate planning as well. I think you summed it up with, one of the major differences that we have is with the Indian community. They think it is just like over in India, the same laws apply in the U.S. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but you're exactly right. It's different. The laws are different because it's a different country, right? So we're going to discuss all of that. We'll discuss what NetLaw is, how to get started with it, and why you exactly need estate planning in the United States. So let's get started. So what is NetLaw? NetLaw is an online technology company. We were created in 2012 out of a estate planning law office in Louisville, Kentucky. That's where I'm from. And what we did is we all worked at the law office, and we only served wealth clients. So you had to have a lot of money, a lot of assets. You come in, talk to one of our attorneys, and you get your estate planning done. You get your will and trust and other documents. The great thing was, it was great. They got their documents done. They protected themselves, their assets, and their family, which is great. But the problem was, we were only serving the wealthiest clients in Kentucky. Our goal when we got into this was to help everyone. So how do we do that? How do we reach everybody? And the easy answer is technology, right? We're all into technology. And that's the greatest way to be able to reach a mass audience. So what we did is we created NetLaw out of the estate planning attorney. We worked with attorneys in every state. Let me flip this over. We worked in attorneys with every state to make sure that we had the state-specific documents. All of our documents are state-specific. So if you're in Texas, you're going to get Texas documents created by an attorney. So you don't have to go and take time off work to go sit in front of an attorney's office. Your spouse doesn't have to take time off work. You know, we just don't have time for that anymore. We're all very busy. Nobody wants to go sit and talk to an attorney for 2 or 3 hours anyway. So we created this technology along with attorneys in each state to make sure that you could do online estate planning from the convenience of your home with the same documents you would get if you came into our law office. The bad thing is, if you came into our law office, it's going to cost anywhere from $3,500 to $5,000 to get your full estate plan done. Great for the wealthy. It didn't matter how much it cost. But bad for the middle class people and the lower income people who need this just as much as the wealthy Americans, right? So this technology that was created in 2012 won the James Keene Award for Innovative Excellence by the American Bar Association. This award is given out every year for the company that has the best online delivery of legal documents. So what does that mean? We're a technology company. This is the award that we want to win. The best online delivery of legal documents. Some of our biggest competitors that I'm sure you've heard of, LegalZoom, Legal Shield, Rocket Lawyer, these big companies that spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on advertising have not won this award from the American Bar Association. It's, you know, it's a very humbling award to win, especially when you're new, right? We came out in 2012. We created this technology and won it that same year. Very humbling. And it allowed us to go from a small office in Louisville, Kentucky, to serving thousands and thousands of clients by connecting with financial representatives like Kishore and helping his friends, his family, his clients, his community get these documents that we need. So state-specific documents awarded by the American Bar Association is what we rely on through NetLaw. We have 5 easy plans. The second one, the $600 cost, is your main estate planning package that you will receive. $600 gets you all of these documents listed in that column. So I'm going to go through them very briefly, talk about each one and why they're important. The first one, the main one, the will, right? The will is where we name an executor, someone who's going to handle everything when we pass away. The second part, you name a guardian. Here in the United States, if you don't name a guardian for your minor children and something happens to you and your spouse, a judge will come in and decide who is the best fit to take care of your children. Now, if you're like me, there's no way that you want a judge coming in and deciding who is going to raise your children. We know who the best person is. And we just don't want to leave it up to chance by a judge making the wrong decision. So very important on why you need a will. Lastly, specific bequest. This is where you name your assets and the beneficiaries who are going to receive them. So, you know, you may have your property that goes into a will. You just tell us who's going to receive it. Automobiles, you know, anything. It could be, you know, maybe your wife's wedding dress. You want to make sure that that goes to one of your daughters. All of that, anything that's important, jewelry, pictures, anything like that can go into the will. So that's the three main components of why you need a will. Also, right below that is children's trust. That's included in the will as well. So let's say both spouses pass away. The children are still under the age of 18. You can set up a children's trust. That's a trust that says, hey, at age 18, I want my child or my children to receive their inheritance in full. Or you could easily make it for where they get a little bit at 18, a little bit at 21, a little bit at 25, and the remainder at 30. Because the last thing you want is a child at age 18 getting a lump sum of money, especially if it's going to be a significant amount, because we know what's going to happen. By age 19 or 20, it's going to be gone. All of that savings that you did is going to be gone because they're not smart enough to take care of their money. They're 18. Of course, I would have done the same thing at age 18. I would have went out and just, bought a hot rod car and went out and just blew my money on silly stuff instead of thinking about the future. So this children's trust protects the child from over expenditures. The third item, durable financial power of attorney. Everybody knows what this is. It's just your power of attorney. Who's going to make your financial decisions for you if you're unable to, right? Maybe you're out of the country or you're in the hospital and you're in a coma. Who's going to pay the bills? Who's going to take care of all your finances? The power of attorney's job is to take care of your finances if you're unable to do so for any reason. You can be out of the country, like I said, or in the hospital, or in a different state. Doesn't matter. They can make any financial decisions for you. I'm going to skip down to revocable living trust / probate avoidance. That's your trust. Everybody thinks that, we call it will and trust, like it's one document, but actually it's two documents. Your will is one document. Your trust is the second document. A revocable living trust, I call it a holding document. It holds your major assets in this trust so you can avoid probate. Probate is a process where the court systems come in. When you pass away, they freeze all of your assets. They allow creditors a certain amount of time to come in, take what's owed to them, and then the rest gets passed to your beneficiaries. Any assets that you have in the trust, avoid probate. So when you pass away, the assets are distributed to your beneficiaries right away. That's very important because maybe mom and dad didn't plan for funeral expenses, right? And we can take what's in their bank account and help pay for their funeral expenses. Or maybe we need to sell a car or anything, sell their house just to get the money in, to pay final expenses, funeral expenses, stuff like that. So it's so important to have these documents. So the first four things that I talked about are on the financial side. Those are all your financial documents. Your will with the children's trust, the financial power of attorney, and the revocable living trust. Those are all your financial documents. I'm going to go back up and I'm going to talk about healthcare decisions now. A lot of people don't consider your healthcare decisions to be part of your estate planning, but it absolutely is. First, I'm going to talk about the healthcare surrogate. That's just like your financial power of attorney, but for your medical decisions. So if you're sick or in a coma, someone can come in and make your medical decisions for you. They can talk to the doctor in the hospital and determine the right course of action. Maybe you've told them something. Hey, don't try any fancy medicines with me. Let's just keep on with what they know works. That would be why you need a health surrogate. HIPAA authorization allows the person that you name to be your HIPAA authorization agent to make medical decisions as well with the healthcare surrogate, because they actually get to see your medical records. They get to talk to the doctors, the insurance companies, all of that. Usually it's the same person, but it can be different people. but you can see how they work hand in hand with each other. The last one, advance directive. It's also called a living will in some states. What that is end of life decisions. Do you want to be hooked up to a machine, fed intravenously, and kept alive as long as possible? Or do you just want to pass away naturally, right? When it's time, it's time. This is your decision. It's not the doctor's decision. It's not the hospital's. It's not your kid's decision. This is your decision. What do you want to happen when it's time to go? Keep me alive as long as possible, or let me go naturally? The worst thing that you could do is not make this decision and have your kids have to make that decision for you. You know, the stress level is amazing when a parent is dying. And now we have to make the decision, do we pull the plug or not? Do we know what mom and dad wanted? Or could you imagine if it was a parent and a child was laying in the hospital and they had to make that decision for their child? The reason you make these decisions on the financial side and the medical side is so that your family knows your wishes. Here's what's going to happen when I pass away. That way, everybody's on the straight and narrow. I know what dad and mom wanted. I know what my brother wanted, my sister wanted, my cousin wanted. We know what they wanted. That's why you do an estate plan. The last document we have is a pet trust. Now remember, we're from Kentucky, so we did a lot of horse farms in Lexington. Multi-million-dollar horses are in these pet trusts of these horse farm owners. But what it's really for is just the modern everyday family that has a dog or a cat. If something happened to me, who's going to take care of my dog, right? And you can leave that person some money to pay for vet bills, food. It's just like bringing on another person to the family. We all know if we have pets, how expensive the vet can be. So you can leave a certain amount behind for that person just in case to help, you know, the finances of taking care of your pet. So all of those documents are included in the $600 cost. You also receive a life vault. A life vault. That's in your NetLaw plan, a tab is a vault where you can keep all of your important documents. We have 200 gigabytes of data, so you should never, ever, ever run out of storage. That's also included in the $600. And you can put anything in there. Your estate planning documents, deeds to houses, titles to cars, bank account information, pictures, passports, anything that you can download and save to this vault, we highly recommend that you do that. The great thing is your spouse's plan is included at no cost. $600 covers both of you. Remember, in our law office in Louisville, Kentucky, which it is very cheap to live in Kentucky, it's $3,500 to $5,000 to get these documents done. So if you're in LA, Chicago, New York, Dallas, Houston, it's probably even going to be more expensive than that. $600 covers all of these documents, state-specific documents created by an attorney. Lastly, we have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Try it out. As long as you don't download the documents, we'll give you your money back. I'll just run through the other four real quickly, but 90% of what we do is in that second column. The first column, the $400 package, is the same exact package, except it doesn't come with the trust. Believe me, you're going to want to pay $200 for that trust, because if you go out on your own, they're very expensive. The third column is an islet. It's a separate document altogether. It's an irrevocable life insurance trust. So if you have a lot of life insurance, you can purchase this trust. You can put your life insurance in this trust, and later on it could help out with taxes for the beneficiary. The two packages on the right, the healthcare package and the student package, I call them starter packages. They're really for maybe kids that are just going off to college. That would be the student package. Or maybe kids who are turning 18, 19, 20. They might not have a house. Maybe they don't have a car. They probably don't need this big package. But these two documents cover their financial power of attorney, the 3 healthcare documents. The only difference is in the student package, it comes with a FERPA consent form. That's a form for colleges. It allows the student to sign this form, and it gives access to the parents to call up the school to find out about grades, conduct. You know, one of the worst things that can happen is your child gets hurt at college and they get sent to the hospital. The college can call the parents and say that something happened to their child and they're at the hospital. So the parents' first question is, oh my God, what happened? The college can't tell them. It's against HIPAA authorization rules. So now the parent is stuck. Something happens to my child and I don't know what it is. The FERPA consent form allows the college to tell the parents everything. So you can see what an important document it is. And those 2 packages are just $99. And later on, you can upgrade to the $600 package. So those are all the plans that we have. At NetLaw, we only do estate planning. We're not LegalZoom. We're not LegalShield. We're not going to help you start a nonprofit. We can't set up an LLC or a corporation for you. Those are just, document warehouses. We only do estate planning.
Mark, there are a few questions on that slide. Do you want to take those questions now, or?
We can, or we can wait till the end. Whatever you prefer.
Maybe it's better when we are on the slide itself. So
okay.
One of the questions is, why are some cells in gray on this slide?
That's just the way that the font came out when I created this document. It doesn't mean anything. You receive all the documents that are in that column.
Yeah, okay. And then state specific, do we need to request to update when we move to a different state?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's real easy. So if you move to a different state, you just log into your NetLaw plan, you update your address, and the documents will populate to your new state under those state-specific rules. But you will have to print them out, take them and get them witnessed and notarized. Anytime that you make a change to any document, it needs to be printed out, witnessed and notarized.
Okay. Why there is a renewal fee after first year? What it is for? Is it mandatory to pay the renewal?
I'm going to answer that on the next slide.
Yeah, sure. The last question on this slide, how do we address property from other countries?
Mm-hmm. So if you have a property in India, you can transfer that property's deed into the U.S. trust. But you will need to contact an attorney over in India to help you with that, because you have to follow India's laws because the house is located in India. India's laws are a lot different than the U.S. laws. So you will have to reach out, talk to an attorney over there, do the deed transfer into the U.S. trust. A little time consuming, but well worth it.
Yeah, that's it, Mark. We can go to the next slide.
Okay, great. So $600 gets you all of the documents and all of the extras that I talked about. That covers you for the first year. After the first year, it's an $8 fee per month to keep your account open and active. You don't have to. You can cancel it after you do your documents and you don't have to pay anything. But you do lose the ability to go in and edit any document or store anything else into your vault if you cancel. So I created this slide to show you why paying $8 a month is well worth it. You can read through a lot of them. I'm only going to pick maybe 2 or 3 just to talk about, to kind of give you an idea of why you want to do that. The first one, the big one at the top, 12 o'clock, change in marital status, right? Like I said, spouses are included. Their documents are included in this. So if you're single and you're buying this today, great. You're going to go ahead and take care of yourself. 2 years down the road, you get married, you can bring your spouse in. And their documents, they can complete those at no charge. Or the opposite, right? You're married now, 2 years later, you get divorced. Well, I'm sure you don't want your ex-spouse making your healthcare decisions for you. So you're definitely going to want to go in and change all of the information. We talked about relocation to a new state. That was a great thing to bring up, because I was going to bring it up here. And like I said, it's real easy. Anytime you need to edit any of these documents, you just log in and do it, as long as your account's open and active. It's so easy to do. Planning a vacation. You don't want to go to a different country without having at least your healthcare documents and your power of attorney. If something happens over there, the doctors aren't going to know your wishes. You can always have these with you, because remember, this is online. You can get into these documents. You can show anybody these documents at any time, because all you need is your cell phone. You log into your NetLaw plan, and you can show a doctor or a hospital or anybody your wishes. At the bottom, 6 o'clock, my child's turning 18. We talked a little bit about that on the other plans. Once your child turns 18, you're not legally responsible for them. They're an adult. So they need their own plan as well. They can't stay on your plans to protect them. Birth of grandchildren, right? Birth of grandchildren or just children. If you have this plan and then, a year later you have a child, or you're lucky enough to have a grandchild, you can go ahead and add them into the documents so that they get their percentage as well. So you can see, and there's a lot more. I just created this just to kind of give you a rough idea of why would I ever change my documents? I don't understand. These are some of the reasons why you would need to go in and change your documents. Now let's talk about if you do cancel, right? If you do cancel and then 2 years later something happens and you want to come back. Okay, great. What you would do is you would pay $8 a month for however many months that you were canceled. So if you were canceled for 10 months and want to come back, you'd pay $80 to come back. We would reopen your account. You would never pay more than $250. So 5 years down the road, it's going to cost you $250 to open your account back up. 10 years down the road, it's going to cost you $250. You'll never pay more than $250 to reopen your account. So what a great deal, right? Just the ability to change these documents. Remember, at our law office, if you came in just to make an edit to one of your documents, it's going to cost you anywhere from $300 to $400 for one document to change. That's almost the price of our NetLaw plan in full. And you get the vault, right? Your attorney's not going to give you a vault. He's not going to let you update these documents for free in the first year. So you see the value of why just $8 a month, not a big deal. Or you could cancel and come back whenever you need to. The option is yours. That's why we have options. So why is estate planning so important? We've talked about a lot of them already, right? Property in India. We talked about why the will is important, the trust, the healthcare documents. I'm going to go over those one more time, just real quick, because we're getting ready to wrap up. When I talk about estate planning, this is not a long subject to talk about because it is so to the point, right? You need these documents, and here's why. But I came up with 4 reasons why you need to do this in the United States. The will, right? The will is so important because we've talked about it. If you don't tell in your will where your assets are going to go, a judge is going to decide. Many of you, I'm sure, don't know that if you die without a will, that's called intestate. And what that says is you died without a will, and the state will decide where your stuff goes. They already have a plan for you if you don't have one for yourself. If you want everything to go to your wife, that's not going to happen. If you want everything to go to your kids, it's not going to happen. It is based upon some to your wife, some to your kids, some to your heirs-in-laws. That's how the state system works. You have to tell who you want your stuff to go to. That's why having a will is so important. And remember, you name an executor in there. This is the person that's going to handle everything. You don't want to judge in the court system deciding this. These are your assets. You tell us who they're going to go to. My favorite to talk about is guardianship, right? I said it earlier. There's no way I would want a judge deciding who's going to raise my minor children. If you don't name it, they're going to do it. This is the best way to protect your family. And guys, that's what it is, really. This is why we do estate planning. It's not for us. We're going to die. Estate planning is so that we make sure that the next generation gets what's owed to them. Who gets it? And when do they get it? That's why we do estate planning. And we protect, right? That's our number one job as parents, as spouses. We protect each other. And this is how you do it, especially with your minor children. I talked about probate earlier. Avoiding probate. If you go to probate court, you're going to have to hire a lawyer. That's going to be expensive. You're going to have to take time off work because probate court is Monday through Friday. We all work Monday through Friday. So you're going to have to hire a lawyer, take off work, go spend a lot of money just to try and get your stuff out of probate court so that you can gain the assets that you're trying to get. You can avoid all of that hassle by just doing your trust. And lastly, the medical decisions. How important is this, right? You know, the last thing that you want is infighting between family members because you didn't make the decisions. This saves all the stress. If I get sick and I'm dying, here's my decisions. And you let your family know. That way there's no fighting. This and the guardianship will stop all fighting because families are going to fight over the kids. Families will fight over the critical decisions that need to be made. This is a great way to stop infighting. There's too much stress going on as you watch someone pass away. This is a way to avoid all of that. So I hope you see and you're as passionate about it as I am. So why NetLaw, right? The four major reasons. It's personal. These are your decisions. No one else should be making them for you, and no one should decide what happens besides you. Conversational, right? This is something that you talk to your family about. Let them know that you did your will. Let them know that you have the trust and the healthcare documents and the power of attorney. Let them know. Let them know where to find it if something happens. The worst thing you can do is do all of this and nobody knows and something happens to you. Digital, I talked about it. You have access to this 24/7 because it's online. You can log into your account at any time. And done. Kishore talked about this. 80% of the Indian population, I think he said, doesn't have a will and trust. That's scary. That's scary numbers. Because he's right. The lack of information out there. Now you know. Now's the time to do something about this. And for $600, you're not going to find it anywhere cheaper. And remember, we won the James Keene Award from the American Bar Association. I'm so proud of that. Anytime you can win an award from the American Bar Association, you know you're doing something right. And we're proud of that. This is all of our contact information. And you see that link at the bottom? If you're interested in the plan, go to that link. I'll send this to Kishore, and he can send that out so everybody has a copy of it. But if you're interested, this is a great link to go to find out more about NetLaw, read more about it, and purchase the plan. $600 covers you, your spouse, and gets all your documents done. This is the time. This is the time. And I'm so glad that I had a chance to talk to all of you tonight and hopefully educated. My goal was to make sure that you learned something, and I hope you did.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Mark. And before we get on to Q&A, let me quickly present some special discounts or offers for our members today who joined, who took time to get awareness about will and trust. Yeah, thanks, Mark, for bringing up. So, or let me share my presentation, Mark.
Okay.
So, yeah, everyone, as I mentioned earlier, right? So, there are mainly two types of or two categories, right? 80% don't have will in our community because of lack of information. 20% because of procrastination, right? We just delay things. We don't act upon them. So Mark already gave all the important information which we all need to know why will and trust are so important. They are as equal as our visa documents, as important as our passports, right? He gave all that information. Now I want to give that 20% information why you should do it as soon as possible, maybe by this weekend. But before that, most of you already know I am a postgraduate in Usmania. I did my MCA, and that's my mobile number. I got around 20 years of IT experience. I'm a certified Scrum Master, QA Manager, Project Manager, Salesforce admin. I'm a licensed financial professional, and I'm also volunteer in a lot of different non-profit organizations, TCA, TAG, ATA, NATA, all different organizations. I support all of them, right? And there are many of us, again, I get a lot of questions that we already have some will from my company or something, but that's only part of it. Generally will, we should have all these things. Already Mark covered it, but I want to remind everyone that we should have living will, two document, one for each of the spouse, then medical power of attorney, financial power of attorney, healthcare directive, to physicians, HIPAA authorization, family revocable living trust, one document for both, family revocable living trust, certificate of trust, one document for both, right? Most of the companies, they may just give the first one, living will. So we are not like 100% secured, or we are not mitigating 100% of risk just by having the first document. It is only covering part of it. Or some of us always compare cost with something else, saying like, okay, that legal Zoom I can get it for $100 or something. Why here it is expensive? So, right? There are so many reasons, right? Just iPhone we get it for $1,000. Then there is another phone which we may get it for $100. Same thing. So if they are covering only one out of 7 documents, they may be charging only $50 to $100. But here you have everything which you need, and then everything is digital, right? Already Mark gave all those features, benefits of NetLaw, right? In addition to that, right? Still there might be few who may still have thinking like, okay, is it important? Should I do now or not? Then there is a special offer for all our members, that there is a buy one get one offer, right? So for example, if one family is getting uh, the will and trust for 600, then they can give another family for free. So basically you both can split the cost. So instead of spending $600, each family, right, each wife and her husband will spend only $300, right? So the first family will pay 600, the second family will get it for free. Then you both can split the cost, right? So there is a great offer, right? Instead of paying 600, you are getting it for 300, but the offer is only until June 30th. Then there might be still some members who might be thinking, right, should I do it or not? We are making it much more because, right, we want to secure our community, our families, right? As I mentioned earlier, I see a lot of GoFundMe links every day, right? Think of a situation where a family without will and trust having some problem, right? We see so many heart attacks in age of 30 to 40, so many different issues, accidents, car accidents, or these hurricanes, whatever it may be. We see so many reasons, right? So just to make sure we are not delaying it further, we are not waiting, so we want to make the deal much better, right? Whoever completes their will and trust, right? You are already getting buy one get one. That means you are only paying 300 instead of 600, and also you will receive a $300 hotel saving card. Whoever completes it, that means you are paying 300, you are receiving a $300 hotel saving card, which can be used around 400,000 hotels across the globe, right? So this is not like you can use, this is not like a gift card which where you can use all 300 at one time. depending on the hotel, depending on the number of days you are staying, right? You can partially use that until end of the year, right? For example, if you stay in a 5-star hotel for 1 week, you are going for a vacation to Mexico or something for 1 week, then you can use all 300 at one time. So there are 400,000 hotels based on the type of hotel, based on the number of days you are staying, right? You will be able to use a partial amount of that, right? It can be used at car rentals. It can be used at brands like Hilton, Marriott, Holiday Inn, Hyatt, Hampton, Four Seasons, Starwood, lot of, and across the globe, not only just in US, but across the globe. So that means you are nearly getting it for free, right? You are paying 300, you are getting your will and trust, you are receiving another $300 hotel saving card, which you can use across the globe in 400,000 hotels, resorts, car rentals, right? I think it's like a no-brainer deal. You are nearly getting it for free when you take the net value. You are paying 300 and getting $300 saving card. And we want to make each of you an ambassador, right? We all are so eager to share the GoFundMe links, but instead of sharing GoFundMe links, we need to share these type of information, which is very important for our community to know about it, right? So we we also adding, again, all these things are from my side, right? NetLaw is giving buy one get one, but I want to make sure we communicate the importance of will and trust to others. We make sure each and every family is protected, they are mitigating the risk, right? So if you share about this offer, about this opportunity, and they sign up before end of the month, if 3 families sign up, right, you refer 3 friends and three families sign up, so you will get a 3-night luxury hotel accommodation, right? It can be Orlando, Las Vegas, Branson, Williamsburg, Gatlinburg, Daytona Beach, nearly $600 worth, right? 4-day, 3-night accommodation at one of these top resorts. So, right, I think you are seeing the value, right? You are already getting buy one get one. You are getting $300 hotel saving card, and when you sign up and you refer another 3 friends, you are sharing this valuable information. You are making sure that other families are protected. We don't want any family to be in a troublesome situation where they don't know where their kids should go, or where their assets are totally in probate court. Nobody can touch their bank accounts. We don't want any family to be in that situation. So we want each of us to be ambassadors of this information, share this valuable information with our friends, family, colleagues, our relatives, everyone in US, and get them signed up. And again, the same offer applies to them. They also receive this $300, and whenever they refer another 3 families, they get this vacation. And right, you are protecting your family. You are going to have a great time on a vacation at Orlando, Las Vegas. You are getting a free vacation also, right? I hope uh, a deal doesn't get better than this, right? And we are also sharing some useful information. We are not sharing them something which a family don't doesn't need it. We are sharing something which each and every family in US, it is not just Indians, but everyone over 18 needs this. So we are sharing some valuable information, and helping them, right? Now I hope everyone is clear with all these offers. In addition to that, I can also help you with one more thing. You have this buy one get one offer. In case you don't have somebody to pair up, right? For example, you are paying 600, you don't have another friend or family. I suggest that you should definitely share this information, get one of your friends or families to get this buy one get one. But in case you don't have anyone, because I have these huge groups across all the cities, I can help you to match up with one of the other members, so you both can match up, and then you both can pay $300 each, right? So you can see all the advantages: buy one get one, matching up with another member, getting a $300 hotel saving card, and when you share this information and when they sign up, getting a vacation for 4-day 3-night stay. Again, travel is not included. You have to just pay some taxes and resort fee, which may be around $60 to $70, but you are saving around $585, right? You are paying 300, you are getting 300, and when you share information, you are getting another 600. So nothing gets better than this, right? Again, this is to make sure that 20% who procrastinate, who delay things, right? So just to make sure that you take it as an important task, as important as you are filing your visa application, or if your passport is expired, we want to make sure you take it as priority task and complete it by weekend. Then you will get all these additional benefits, right? Now let's go back to the question and answers, right? I see that there are some questions in the chat window. Uh, yeah, one of the question is, Mark, question from Mani, is this available for Canada residents?
Only if they have property in the U.S. If they don't, no, these are state-specific documents for U.S. But if they own a house over here, then they can put that house into, they can create their will and trust for the U.S. property. But we are in all 50 states, so just not in Canada. If they live in Canada and everything they have in Canada, we can't help them. But if they do own property here in the U.S., we can help that.
It's all 50 states in US. And then Ramesh want to team up with somebody for buy one get one. That's good, Ramesh. But again, as I mentioned, I prefer you check with your friends or relatives, because right, you are also helping them to know about the importance of will and trust, right? And if you cannot get anybody, then I will definitely help you to pair up with someone. But as our responsibility to share this valuable info, because 80% are not aware about importance. They think everything is like Hindu law act, where if something happens, their kids will get the properties, right? So I suggest you to talk to your relatives, friends, and if nobody is there, then definitely reach to me, and I can help you with pairing up with someone. Then there is another question like, how many executors can we add? Can executor be a beneficiary too?
Absolutely. Yeah. So you can name as many executors if you want as you want. The issue is, if one's not available, that's fine. But in the system, we have alternates. So it's always better to name one main one, and then you have the ability to name alternates. And you can, as you list them, that's like if you list Tom as the main person, then Bill is a alternate, and then Susie as an alternate. Bill will be first, and Susie will be second. But if you want to name 3 or 4 executors at one time, you absolutely can.
And they can be beneficiary also, right, Mark? There should not be any.
They can be a beneficiary, yes.
Another question from Mukund. How much time does one needs to invest to get these documents done?
As long as you know who your executor is going to be, who the guardian is going to be, who the beneficiaries are going to be for your assets, for both sets of documents, it will probably take anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes to complete.
Yeah. That's less than watching a movie, right? But
right.
we delay even for that 30-45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Another question from Sagar. Have you hired a security company or a vendor to secure the vault? Or
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a company that comes in and audits us. Right now, what we're working on is two-factor authentication, and whatever that word is. Yeah. You are the IT guy. Yeah. But once that's in, that will really help us, and that will probably be in about 2 months.
Okay, cool. Another question from Sridevi, which is important, will or trust if someone doesn't have any properties here in US, but to protect the kids alone?
Okay, you cut out on me there, Kishore.
which is important, will or trust? If someone doesn't
Oh,
have any properties in US, but just to protect the kids.
yeah. So both are important. If they don't, with a trust, it's just not property. It could be a car, a bank account. So there's other things that can go into trust besides just property. But if they don't own a home or a car, then the will would be more important. But to me, both are important because even if you don't own a home right now, 5 years later, you might.
Mhm. If I don't renew, can we still access the documents online?
You can access your documents in the vault and you can print them out at any time. You just lose the ability to edit any of the documents or store anything new into your vault.
Yeah, okay. Are we required to store the documents online only, or can we print those out when required?
No, you'll have to print them out no matter what because you have to take them and get them witnessed and notarized. So you'll have, a hard copy that you could either keep in a safe box at the bank or maybe in your basement in a filing cabinet. But yeah, we definitely want you, once you get them witnessed and notarized, we definitely want you to store them into your vault because that's when if something happens and you don't have time to go home to get your documents, you'll be able to use your phone to log in to your NetLaw plan and you can show these documents. That's why it's so important that this is online 24/7.
How often will needs to be renewed if not edited in interim?
Well, it needs to be renewed anytime that there's a change to your executor, to your guardians, anytime that you need to change a beneficiary to an asset, anytime any of those specifics happen, then you would need to change it. But if nothing changes, then you're good. You would never have to update it. And if there's a change to any law, then we would let you know. We would email you and send you a letter in the mail that says that you need to upload your documents again and get the newest version. But that doesn't happen very often.
Next question is, what if I am a proprietor in an LLC or owner of a company?
Mm-hmm.
Does it cover stuff like that, and how much is the limit of decisions?
Yeah, sure. It covers it. Inside the trust, we have funding instructions that talk about if you want to put your business into the trust, it walks you through that. First steps are creating a business succession plan, and then it goes from there. But, for each state, it's different. So, once you do your documents, look in your vault for the funding instructions, and it'll tell you how to put your business into the trust.
Next question is, do executors need to be US resident or can they be non-US resident?
They can be non-US residents. So, your executive or your executor or your guardian can live over in India. But here's the situation with that. If something happens to you and your spouse, you both pass away, you're in a car wreck and you both pass away, how easy will it be for that guardian to get on a plane, fly to the US, and then what happens to the child? Are they going back to India? Are they staying here? So that's stuff that you have to think about. Or would it be easier to have a guardian here that can take care of them? But the quick answer is yes, it can be anywhere in the globe. But, from my point of view on educating, you have to think past that. And, what happens to the child if the guardian can't get over here, right? Then they go to foster home. Or do they go, in a state home or something like that? So it's stuff that you have to think about.
Yeah. Next question is, like, bank accounts can be protected by assigning beneficiaries, right?
Yeah. You can put your bank account in the trust, but really at a bank, a lot of people don't do this, but you can name a beneficiary on your bank account. So that really wouldn't have to go into your trust, but a lot of people put it in there just to hide how much money they have.
I think you already answered this question. Can we have relatives in India as guardians for our child? If yes, the child would have to move to India. What will happen to child's citizenship?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Next question is, since life insurance already has beneficiaries defined on the policy, what is the advantage of having the $750 plan? Revocable life insurance.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with the beneficiaries. It has to do with putting it into the trust to protect it. So when the person who is still alive, all of this life insurance can be hidden in the trust. So it doesn't look like they have all of this money or all of this assets. Anything in a trust is private. It's not public information. So that's why you put this life insurance into the trust. So it doesn't look like you own all of this life insurance. And from what I understand, it helps somewhat on your taxes as well because you're not claiming it.
Mhm. Next question from Nishant. Do scanned copies not in the vault but on your phone work in case if you don't have hard copy with you at the moment?
Yeah, you can show anyone your documents. Now, they may need you to print it out, which would be possible from your phone. You can log into your phone, connect to a printer, and print these out, or email them even. You could email them to a doctor. You could email them to the hospital staff. You could email them to family members. So there's always ways to print them out. Because really, I mean, no one's just carrying around your estate planning documents. But this is a way to just show the doctor. Absolutely. If you show him these documents, he has to abide by them.
In the case the child moves to India, okay, I think you already answered that. The question is, in the case the child moves to India, what will happen to child citizenship? I think it's more an immigration question.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about that.
As long as the stuff is notarized, it can be scanned on my phone. What should need to be executed basically?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any other questions from anyone? You can unmute yourself, or I can unmute all the participants. If you want to ask any other questions to Mark. Anyone has any other questions which you want to ask? Like before laptop, and if you are listening on phone. Okay, there is one more question. Can there be two guardians, one in US and other in India?
Yes.
Okay. And do you suggest to include bank accounts in the trust or will?
I do. Just to have it written down is so valuable. That way family members know when they look at it. So yes, I always suggest that any major asset that you have is included in the will and trust.
So it should be on both will and trust, Mark, or
Yeah, you can in the will you would put it in specific bequest. So you would tell in the will who gets it or who gets what percentage. In the trust, you can have the bank account in the trust so that the funds go to those beneficiaries right away after death. If it goes to probate, remember, the assets get frozen until the creditors are done taking what's owed to them. And that could be 3, 4, 5 months.
Yeah. So anyone else has any other questions? We are exactly 1 hour. Started at 8:03. It is 9:03. If no one got any other questions,
where are we going?
We'll conclude the session. And thanks again, Mark, for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and thanks everyone. Have a great rest of the day. And you can contact me on 832-867-8808 if you need any additional details or if you want to know more about the deal
Walk के लिए जाने को
with these offers.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone.
Sure.
Good
Thanks
night.
so much, Mark
Thank you.
and Kishore. Good night,
Yeah,
guys.
thanks
you, Mark and
everybody.
Kishore.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kishore.
நம்ம ஆன்லைன்ல கம்பெனியா நம்ம ஆன்லைன்லயே வந்து இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் என்டர் பண்ணிட்டு ஆன்லைன் டாக்குமெண்ட் பிரிண்ட் பண்ணி